In tonight's headlines, the Environmental Protection Department hails the first phase of the city's ban on single-use plastics a success, but some business sectors beg to differ. The government plans to increase the ceiling for severance payments under the insolvency fund to better safeguard employees' rights. And the administration receives more than 300,000 applications for the inaugural issuance of the silver bond under the government's infrastructure bond program.
Residents are having mixed bags of feelings as single-use plastic tableware will be off the table tomorrow following a 6-month grace period, and restaurants will be prohibited to provide disposable plastic utensils, both for dine-in and takeout. In Wanchai, many eateries have already transitioned to more sustainable options, utilizing disposable utensils made from paper and wood. However, some are still relying on plastic items. This man with a plastic straw in his coffee plans to switch to a reusable glass straw in the future. "I can't stand the paper straws. They bring in so much air every time I use them," he said. Staff at one restaurant shared their challenges with the transition. They noted that not only are eco-friendly utensils more expensive to procure, but customers have also complained about issues related to odor, quality, and taste. The restaurant is currently seeking alternative options to meet both regulations and customer needs. Once the regulations take effect, ban items for sale, dine-in, and takeout will include foam tableware, disposable plastic straws, knives, forks, and spoons. Additionally, disposable plastic cups, bowls, and food containers will only be permitted for takeout and sale. Beyond utensils, other disposable plastic items will also be prohibited from being provided for free. This includes disposable gloves, promotional plastic wrapped tissues, hotel toiletries, and plastic bottled water, all of which can only be sold and not freely distributed. Plastic cotton swabs, umbrella bags, inflatable sticks, and glow sticks will also be banned from sale or free distribution. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News. Environmental group Greeners Action has voiced concerns about what they see as insufficient progress on the plastic-free initiative, believing that efforts to reduce single-use plastics have not met expectations. Between September and October, the group surveyed 157 restaurants across the city and discovered that 22 of them were still offering plastic straws for dine-in customers. They believe that some restaurants have not yet provided alternative utensils due to existing stock. Additionally, nearly 6% of the surveyed restaurants continue to serve drinks in plastic cups or with plastic lids, and some even sealed prepared beverages with plastic wrap. In light of these findings, Greeners Action has recommended the authorities to assist restaurants in adopting reusable or rental utensils to promote more sustainable practices.
The government is actively working on increasing the ceiling for severance payments from the protection of wages on insolvency fund to better safeguard employees' rights, said Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sen.
We aim to help companies or employers that cannot pay severance pay. We need to know this amount of money isn't public fund. $100,000 plus half of the remainder, we can already have a lot of employees. For those with longer service period, they may not get the entirety of the severance pay. We want to help employees to meet their burning needs. If we can increase the amount to $150,000 or even $200,000, we can help 2/3 more cases. If we can increase the amount to $200,000, we can help as much as 85% to 86% of the employees. These employees can obtain the severance pay through the PWIF.
Sun emphasized that the current balance of the PWIF is healthy and sufficient to accommodate this increase in the ceiling.
The government announced today the subscription and allocation results of the new batch of silver bond. More than 300,000 valid applications were received for nearly $70 billion in principal amount of bonds, less than the record amount set last year. The valid applications received have been allocated bonds up to a maximum of 24 units. For those 160,000 applications seeking 23 or fewer units, they will be allocated the full amounts applied for. The bonds will be issued on Wednesday. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the positive response in subscription shows that silver bond continues to be well received by senior residents. The authorities will keep reviewing the effectiveness of the scheme and future arrangements, taking account of investor response, market conditions, and other relevant considerations.
In its enhanced support for youths in the city, the government plans to convert the Kai-Tak Quarantine Center into a youth hostel to meet young people's housing needs, while also establishing a cultural and creative hub on the location to help them realize their aspirations, according to Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mack. The Youth Post Hostel initiative was unveiled by Chief Executive John Lee during last week's policy address. Mack clarified that the new facility is not intended as affordable housing. Rather, it will serve as a temporary residence for local and international youth engaging in artistic, cultural, and academic exchanges.
We plan to select a suitable body through open tender to operate this brand new facility. We aim to start the tender exercise at the end of the year. The facility will begin operation next year.
Meanwhile, to boost job opportunities for young people, the government plans to further expand the Greater Bay Area Youth Employment Scheme, says Labor and Welfare Secretary Chris Sen.
We used to only accept university applicants. Now we want to relax the requirement to associate degree holders as well.
Sen also noted that a reciprocal arrangement is under discussion to attract a similar number of mainland youth to work in Hong Kong. For underprivileged seniors, increased subsidies have been announced to enable them to reside in designated care homes in Guangdong. The welfare chief highlighted that of the 110,000 elderly receiving comprehensive social security assistance, about 5,600 live in poor conditions. The current monthly pension of $4,400 is insufficient to improve their circumstances. However, the government plans to provide an extra $5,000 and relocate them to nurseries in Guangdong for better living conditions and financial support, Sun said. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
With just 16 more days to go before the election, former U.S. President Donald Trump reported for duty at a McDonald's outlet in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. The aim was to take a jab at Democratic presidential candidate and Vice President Kamala Harris, who claimed to have worked at the fast food chain decades ago.
I love McDonald's. I love jobs. I like to see good jobs. And I think it's inappropriate when somebody puts down all over the place that she worked at McDonald's. It was a big part of her resume that she worked at McDonald's, how tough a job it was. She specifically worked at the French fry, where they make the French fries, and she talked about the heat. It was so tough. She never worked at McDonald's. McDonald's just confirmed that again, by the way. She never worked at McDonald's. In other words, she's lying, Kamala.
In a widely anticipated move, China cut its benchmark lending rates by 0.25 percentage point in its monthly meeting on Monday, in a bid to lower the interest burden on mortgage borrowers and boost consumption. The one-year loan prime rate, of which most new and outstanding loans are based on, was lowered by 25 basis points, from 3.35% to 3.1%. While the 5-year LPR, which influences the pricing of mortgages, was cut by the same margin from 3.85% to 3.6%. Last Friday, Governor of the People's Bank of China Pan Gongsheng has told the Financial Forum that lending rates will drop by 20 to 25 basis points. This marked the third cut of lending rates this year by the central bank, with the most recent one in July. So far, LPR has been cut by 60 basis points this year. For existing mortgage borrowers, the rate cut year-to-date, in addition to the average 50 basis points drop in the interest rates on existing mortgages uniformly adjusted in batch by all commercial banks on October 25th, could result in a mortgage rate decline of more than 1 percentage point this year. Best Learn Cable News.